Hey there, Angela Mosley here with Modern Fit Moms. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 5 different exercises that you can begin while having symptoms to get yourself back to impact training, plyometrics, running, jumping, whatever the case might be. These are 5 beginner-friendly exercises that I would incorporate into my clients' routine as well as into my programs for moms that are experiencing leaking, prolapse, heaviness, pressure, all the things, and they want to get back to the workouts they know and love. Up to 50% of women stop exercise altogether because of their symptoms. And I just want you to know that this is a safe space to talk. This is what we talk about on this channel, is leaking, diastasis recti, prolapse, all the things. Nothing is TMI. So if you'd like to see more content like this, make sure to comment below what else you would like to see. So what I just want to say is that the exercise alone is typically not the problem. It's simply exposing your symptoms, meaning that you probably always had pelvic floor barriers, but you didn't recognize it until you started exercising again. So it's not that there's an unsafe exercise or that there's a bad exercise for the pelvic floor. It's just some exercises produce more pressure and more impact on the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is supposed to be responsive and reflexive within our training. But if we just stop exercise because we're afraid of leaking ourselves, then we're going to get weaker over time. And so I just want to encourage you and give you some positive inspiration that it is possible. I used to pee well past my knees just from doing skaters back and forth and tuck jumps and jumping jacks and all the things. And I don't pee anymore. And I'm able to do the things I know and love. And I want the same thing for you. So today's video, if you have ever gone to the bathroom before your workouts, just in case, if you avoided drinking liquids for a couple hours before your workouts, or you wear a pad, this is for you. I'm going to walk you through 5 exercises that are lower impact-ish that are going to help you to really focus on your breathing and really focus on your posture, alignment, whatever you want to call it, and what feels good in your body. All right. So by all means, it's not necessarily a corrective exercise. It's just let's slowly add in some impact training for the pelvic floor to respond naturally, because the pelvic floor should respond, right? We're not supposed to hold up the pelvic floor the whole time. We're not supposed to try and Kegel because it's fast. We're athletic. When we're jumping, we're not trying to activate the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor should just respond. So this is kind of the beginner stages of getting that pelvic floor to respond by using our breath, going at it at a slower pace, but then also focusing on good form and alignment. And what that good form and alignment is going to be, it's going to be different for everyone. So someone might find that doing it a certain way is good for them, but someone might be like, oh, that doesn't work for me. And so when I say alignment, I like to think rib cage stack over the pelvis. That's probably the most ideal, but that might not work for everyone. So keep that in mind as you're going through these exercises. But ideally, when we have that rib cage stacked over the pelvis, that allows the diaphragm to descend down with our inhale and then exhale as we come up. And that's where we have that reflexive training of the pelvic floor. As you inhale down, this allows length within the muscle of the pelvic floor. And then as you exhale, it's supposed to recoil back up. But sometimes we're missing that component. So it's really a matter of retraining our body to respond. And that's what these exercises are going to do. Now, you want to make sure that you have a solid warm-up. I'm not covering that in today's video, but you want to make sure that you're doing some diaphragmatic breathing, some rib cage mobility, very, very important for our diaphragm to respond with our pelvic floor. And you may even want to add in some intentional pelvic floor activation with your breath. And so that doesn't mean doing a bunch of Kegels. It means using your breath to inhale, allow the pelvic floor to lengthen, and then exhale, you can gently engage the pelvic floor in your warm-up. That might work for one person and it may not work for another person. So test out a couple things to see what works. Okay. So apologize for the construction. I am in the middle of revamping my garage gym. So it's a little messy, so I apologize about that. And you may hear some cars. It rained today. It was really humid, so I was like, I've got to open the garage door. So I apologize about that. Okay, so the very first thing is thinking about, well, first off, we want to go into adding an impact without the jumping. And so what I mean by that is using our breath to create and movement of our feet to create impact. So the very first exercise is you're going to drive the one knee up, reach your arms up. You're going to inhale here and then exhale, land into that squat. Okay, so inhale here. Oh, balance. Clearly my balance is off. I'm 7 days away from my period, so I have no doubt it has something to do with that. So you want to inhale here, exhale, land. So I'm creating that inhale 360 degrees into the rib cage, allowing it to expand. And then as I drop my foot down, I exhale. So I'm able to sit into my glutes to help allow that pelvic floor to respond, okay? So you can try inhale here, exhale here. So if you feel very vulnerable, especially if you have prolapse to coming into that squat position, totally get it. Just try here, inhale here, and then stomp. It's not like you're stomping down, right? Because when we stomp, your pelvic floor will respond and might respond negatively. So again, play around with it. Inhale here, exhale. Exhale from the mouth. So you want to make sure that you're not trying to engage your pelvic floor, but you're using your breath as your foot lands on the floor to have that pelvic floor respond naturally. Now, if you do a couple, you want to do 5 reps on the right, 5 reps on the left. See how you do. All of the exercises, I'm going to encourage you to do about 5 reps each, 3 to 4 rounds. Now, if you experience symptoms, you're simply just going to take it back and you're going to regress your symptoms, meaning you're not going to You're not going to do as many reps. You might not do as many rounds. So you want to progress it, right? So you want to start small. So maybe, you're at 2 reps and that's all you got. That's fine. Next time you're going to try to aim for 3 reps without symptoms. You can either increase the rounds or you can increase the reps, and then slowly but surely you can increase both. So that would be number 1. Now, if you feel confident in that, and you're not symptomatic, great. Use that as a training tool. Use that as part of your warm-up to help prepare your pelvic floor to respond to that impact training. Now, the second move is step off. So I highly recommend that you start with something really low. This is actually really high. It's 20 inches. And so I would not recommend starting on this height yet. I want you to start low. Maybe it's something as simple as a step stool that you might have in your house, and then you can progress by increasing the height of your step stool. So, this is all I have, so I'm going to show you on here. So you want to think, just like we did that inhale, I apologize if my head goes out of the frame, and you want to think inhale, and then exhale, drop into that squat as you exhale, as you drop down. Then you're going to do the other side. So same thing. I'm going to bring this one leg out, inhale here, and then exhale, drop down. All right, so it is all in your landing. So like I showed you earlier, is when we have that really loud, strong impact of the foot on the floor, that could create more symptoms to appear. So you want to try and land softly. So what you should hear, or you shouldn't hear a whole lot, you're going to hear it, but it shouldn't be like this loud bang, right? So inhale here, and drop. All right, so let me show you what it looks like with a hard drop. So notice the difference. I didn't have any symptoms with that, but just notice that paying attention to how you land is going to matter. So landing like a feather is what I like to say. Okay, so then after that, if that feels good, we can go into squat jumps. Now, I have 2 options for you. So again, we want to get that good, strong inhale, because when we have that good, strong inhale, and then we explode up, and then we land, we'll get a really good exhale. So I know when you're playing sports and when you're, in a faster pace environment, you're not going to be able to focus on this stuff. But when we train it intentionally in a slower environment, a safer environment, we can start to retrain our pelvic floor and our diaphragm to work together with that impact training. So sometimes we just need to regress a little bit, retrain our body to respond. Because like I said, the pelvic floor should be responsive with this move. All right, so I'm going to inhale here. Inhale as I drive up. Exhale as I drop down. Inhale. Exhale. So super simple squat jump. You're not landing as hard because you're landing on the box. So definitely would recommend something that is, not hip height, but something that you would normally set on as your base of support. Now, if you are experiencing symptoms with that, I just want you to think inhale, bring it up. So lift those heels up and then drop. So you're still getting momentum, and then drop as your heels land. And you want to think about exhaling as your feet drop. Okay, POGO hops. So these were definitely ones for me that were a little bit symptomatic. And so I constantly am adding them into my routine. And what I want to say is that a double POGO hop can really create symptoms, all right? Whereas if you go to a single leg pogo hop, that's going to be less symptomatic, but you want to make sure that you do it on both. That's for the general population, might not be for everyone, right? Just like a mom could go for a walk, have no symptoms whatsoever, but another mom could go for a walk and have all the symptoms. So it's going to be different for each and every person. So you can try a double leg pogo hop, tiny little exhales, and then inhale when you're ready. So if you've watched my jump rope video, similar to that, where we're just doing the pogo hops, where we're not doing anything with our hands, okay? So if you want to get back to jump roping, this is where I'd have you start, is just simply the pogo hops. And so tiny little exhales, can you tell I'm out of breath? Tiny little exhales, and then a nice strong inhale to get it going again. So tiny exhales. Every time your feet land on the floor. Now, if that is bothersome, then you can just go into a single leg pogo hop up and down. Okay, you're going to get those calves working, which is great for those of you that are runners. And then you'll go into the other side. Then we want to change it up. We want to change up the direction of our pogo hops, right? Because we don't move in just one plane. We move in all planes. And if you've ever gone to a boot camp class, CrossFit, Orange Theory, whatever you want to call it, you're not just moving in one way, right? So we need to train our body and our pelvic floor in those different ways. All right, so the other thing you could do is a hop forward and back. So I like to pretend there is a line here. And so my goal is to hop forward and then hop back on that line. Again, same thing, tiny little exhales. And then when I'm ready, I'll take that strong inhale. And then I'll repeat it on the other side, okay? Then, after that, you want to go laterally. So side to side, pogo hops, okay? Again, you can do double leg if you feel good in that position and you're not symptomatic. Go to double leg. It's that single leg that can help reduce some of those symptoms. So now that I'm out of breath, what I would recommend is that you add in just one of those exercises. I call it skill development. And so what I would do is I would add it at the beginning of my workout before my main lift. It's not supposed to be super taxing, right? It's not supposed to be this super complicated exercise. It is skill development. It is training your body to develop that skill. So I would add it in before you go into your main workout. And so what I would do is I would do 3 to 4 rounds, anywhere from 5 to 8 reps, depending, or you can go for seconds. So if you want to time yourself and go for seconds, great. Do that 3 to 4 rounds, depending on how much time you have. Now, like I said, if you are experiencing symptoms, you're going to regress either the reps or the seconds, or regress your rounds, however many rounds, right? Or taking it down a notch. So instead of hopping, for example, for that pogo hop, you could just focus on your calf raises, right? That would be a good option for those pogo hops. So if you're experiencing symptoms in those in the pogo hops, you may just need more calf strength. Pop it into your training plan, and that way you can build that strength up. See if it helps. Again, your warm up is also a good, important piece of this too. So don't forget, you need to have a solid warm up, rotation of the thoracic spine, diaphragmatic breathing. You may want to add in some pelvic floor activation, or you may want to skip it. If you have pelvic floor tightness, you will want to skip it. And so that could also be the culprit. Like I said earlier, the impact training itself, the exercise itself is not the problem. It's simply exposing that there is an issue. And so it's just letting us know. So if we don't exercise, then the symptoms go away, but they don't actually go away. You just didn't do anything to trigger them, but the issue is still there. And so that's why I've created this channel. That's why I've created my programs, because I know so many of you want to get back to workouts. You want to get back to running. You want to get back to lifting weights. You want to get back to your boot camp classes or just simply impact training, but you feel so lost because every time you do, you pee yourself. So start slow, regress to progress, all right? Start slow, and eventually you will get there. You have to stay consistent. If you're ready for a full 90-day program, make sure to check out the details down below to my core lift program. I take you through strength training and impact training over 12 weeks to get your body back to where you want it to be, to get back into the workouts you know and love. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe to my channel, share this with a mama friend, and make sure you like and comment down below what else you would like to see.